Now I don't own the rights to the music, but this is Challenge by Jenny West. Aria Mas. Got another track from this I'll be sharing. Figure out a few things, get my edit on, allow it to be mixed in, chopped in with RC's rolling. How's everybody doing? It's time for me to slide through. Got my space heater on. I'm actually watching yet another live stream, muted out in the background. Got my internet back up and working. I figured why not step through with a random. Let that iron sharpen iron. Skills bring more skills, and steel sharpen steel. Oh yeah, that's what else I've been doing for a while. Wolfing out. Presently, these are some tracks that were submitted to me for use, so I wouldn't have to worry about no copyrights. I have their permission from those creators. Figured I'd share it because I kind of dig them. The old school vibe, with a nice techno, swinging beat. I don't mind. And then another one that I felt was also fitting coming up next. This here makes me want to flash back to a freestyle. I ain't gonna lie, but I ain't gonna spoil it for y'all. I'm gonna let y'all participate. Give me the beats by Jenny West.
Give me the beats. That vitamin B to feed my creativity, and I can take care of me, 'cause I have everything I need to be great. To spread my wings, the span is broad, 'cause I ain't a simple girl, never a fraud. My heart is the truth, so just take this in the booth. And no one even needs to listen, but I'm making myself known. It feels like I'm on a mission, finally in the zone. I'm in the zone.
Gotta obey my thirst, you know, can't be too thirsty these days. Gotta take it easy.
Wondering where I got this from. From KC to NYC. What's the foundation of this house? EMC, community,
I was still on it, of course. A little finagling. A little bit of rain going on this way in the Midwest. But you know, we had that artificial Arctic blast.
I'm feeling a mutual attitude. But share some. I'm trying not to control.
I have to make you shudder for a minute.
If I need a friend or a child, believe me, I'm a step into devotion. My singular need. I wanna be able to see. Give me the beat.
I'm gonna have to do a review on these. Some dollar store Bluetooths. tech thing, so got a 1S 3.7 volt up to 4.2 volt. This one's actually 2400 milliamps, custom made pack. Now this one here, one of my cousins, along with my nephew, did a collaboration.
I keep it holy to everybody that knows me. Walking in the light of that means God only controls me. I got some angels that make demons disappear. I keep my head up, I don't walk around in fear. Nothing that gives me shall prosper. These other gods are imposters. Don't go and worship fake idols. Yes, I recite in my Bible they worship silver and gold, the work of man's hands. The only thing they should be looking to is God's plan. Yes, he works in your favor. Don't let deceivers say different. They want to turn it around and make you look like you're tripping. But I got God on my side, and that's all I need. Turn every fear, disappointment, and sorrow over to me. I keep it holy. 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 I keep it holy.
Keep it holy because the Lord is with me. Lifting his name, hallelujah, till he come and get me. A year ago, I never thought I'd be a preacher now. And I ain't bragging, I'm just talking about his favor, dog. He shed his blood for a sin against the broken coast. Closer to God, hallelujah, for the Holy Ghost. He leads me to a place of strength when I'm feeling weak. And when I'm broken in these trials and I can't speak, he gives me courage even when I make mistakes, homie. Hallelujah, yeah, the blood of Jesus Christ is on me. Keep it 100, living holy because the death of Jesus. God accepted, now I'm walking in this grace. Jesus made me alive, yeah, my God brought me back to life. Now I'm seated.
Hopefully it ain't no interruptions because I keep getting crazy notifications and I have to apologize.
He holy because he is holy. Glory.
So I don't know, but in my opinion, all three of them was hot. Any of them would be nice and fitting for some ride music, on the trails, crawling through the hills, mashing on the string with a trail, bending corners with a dip. Either way you want to take it, we can get down with the mouth bounce and shake it. Tint the windows to 5%, and floss the gift. That's the way we rip this. More interactions. Still breaking them down like fractions. What happens, what they asking me, and in disbelief, don't know that I could SURVIVE and be gone. Yeah, I got quite a few. Let's take this. I can see the angles now. Tripods and that's all right. The editing, which has been the most challenging for me, especially not having the internet connection the majority of the moment. So I'm gonna bounce back, y'all. I just complain along the way. Again, that's Challenge by Jenny West. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, promoting folks, you know what I'm saying, getting them some exposure. At the same time, I've got permission to use for music from my either stills or edited clips. More to come soon. This is one of my break nights. Go into a zone, just kind of meditate, compile a few thoughts, direct some ideas along the lines of my theories of see it, believe it, and achieve it. Got some surprises on the way. So what I'll have to get used to, of course, is narrating without any audio feedback at the moment. StreamYards and all that stuff, really couldn't work with it on just mobile data. I'm taking little baby steps, y'all. Work with me. Any old way. A few more ideas on the way from Uncle Relic. You know, of course, he's going to be boosting more rides, snatching more stale phones and running. We're going to see if we can catch him in the act next time, you know. I didn't like missing my stuff for that long, you know. Been without the internet for like 30 days, for real. You know, all because he took my phone, hijacked my account. He was uploading videos before I knew my phone was missing. Come on now. Keep it rolling. And of the three, this is one of my preferred for like an intro. It's the best way I can see fitting it in. So hope you like it. I'm loving it.
That vitamin D to feed my creativity. And I can take care of me. Cause I have everything I need to be great. To spread my wings, the fan is broad. Cause I ain't a simple broad. Never a fraud.
Now, time and time again, I find myself catching what you can call a plateau. Get an idea, you take your day so far, then you either wreck it, or you know, you run out of parts and you gotta wait on shipping for a good while. I got a few that I'm gonna feature, possibly even on this live stream, a little bit later. Give a little description of them. Best of what I remember they came from, what I built them up to, and why. That way when they get featured in some videos in the upcoming near future, you'll recognize the vehicle and the performance and handling, and you can test my theory to its actual performance. Now, lately I've found that I was impressed, you know, that package, the Armor Felony. Nice. Drifted around about 4-5 good cycles, you know, with the batteries. And the traction, the handling, the speed and acceleration. Now this is just factory stock gearing still. No upgrades to it yet. Just lights and a controller for them, you know, so I can get alternating flash or operation depending on the repair of the section. But I like to get it as detailed as possible so that not just for wow factor or looking cool, but literally I find that, you know, I like to drive them like I stole something, and that's like one of the perfect ones to do it. So, you know, I have fun with that one and a few others. I can still do the crawling bit. Nothing wrong with it. It's just a matter of, it depends on what kind of speed I want to drive that day. And, you know, if I want to basically go on a nice little trail or so, I've got a couple brushless crawlers. One's the TRX4 Sport, and the difference, of course, you know, the locking diffs and all that stuff. You know, I got that basic one, but I also have some deep terrain tracks for it that I'll be featuring, and actually was going to feature during the Arctic blast that we all experienced. But, you know, internet was down, mobile data was low. It was kind of like not gonna work out too well for me. Did as much as I could, and when I started noticing the limitations, I said, all right, wait till the road's over. We're coming. Anyway, I've been thinking of this journey I'm taking on learning the editing, and you know, any input is great. You know, I'm just like a lot of other folks, a beginner in this, even though I've had the affiliation with my account on YouTube since like around 2009-ish originally. It's just a matter of, I've always used this to document like personal progress with hobbies and, you know, things I was interested in. I'm going to be doing a bit of a series on a 30-day stretching regimen so that bouncing back from injuries or just helping with circulation or generally building your flexibility. Those are all bonuses. I've covered them in some depth, in other vids. Older ones, of course, last year, a little back, from like May, June kind of thing. Well, a refresher on that because, of course, seasonally is a balanced cycle. You don't just start it up and fall off and 5-10 years later go, oh, I need to get back at it. Nah, at the very least, do it bare minimum. Stay consistent. Consistency is like the number one thing to promote any type of success, progress, or achievement. So, at the very least, you can say, hey, I maintain, yet again. So, I have to stay with it. And it ain't the most comfortable thing, I'm getting a lot older, joints closing up, and used to be close to rubber band, man. Now I'm going for the, I limp without as many sounds. So yeah, let my RCs handle the outdoor weather a little better than I do. When it's hot weather, love it. Get out there, enjoy it. While most people are sweating and complaining, I'm smiling. I'm in a free sauna, walking. But anyway, I'm still getting down a bit. I'm going to go and snatch up a little something. So y'all give me a minute. I want y'all to give me y'all's opinion on it. I'm going to throw it up in front of the camera and give you a little demonstration, almost GTA style. And then kind of describe why I upgraded and etc. Any further ado, let me go. I'll be right back. All right, get this transmitter on or where it needs to be. And that one I call the Raptor. Well, the Raptor is actually the Red Cat Everest 10, and it is literally housing a body from a Traxxas. Just threw it on there for quick fix remedy, something to mount my light set up on. Trimmed it in chrome. Anyway, you got functional light switches, brake lights, turn signals, and then some green simulated brights. Runs on a 3S LiPo. You've got a 2000 milliwatt FPV transmitter system with run cam camera, Added a switch, literally plug it in when I'm ready to use, turn it on, keep from wasting the battery, which of course is one of my preferred nowadays. 5C, 4000 milliamp, 2S LiPo, 1 pole. This one I converted to the JST plug. This other one here had an adapter, and then of course that switch. But what I've done with this one is basically turn it into a nice durable crawler. Instead of the original shocks that were on it, I threw some that are the same size and used on the Traxxas Max. Innards are pretty much LEDs taped, ready to roll up under in here. Hopefully I'm getting some decent clarity. This one's the show of the previous video. This is the one that the FPV view was showing it in the snow crawling and etc. So literally just plug her in. And we won't be running FPV on it right now. Just basically getting it on for operation, demo it out real quick. Now this setup is not only the FPV spare tire in the rear that I mounted, the Traxxas body, your headlights, you've got brake / reverse lights back here. And literally they come on when activated. So and there's right turn, left turn, same in the front. And these adjustable brights have a switch to either have them lit up in the centers and green, or dark and black, green and black. So just a decent little visual effect, decent traction. This will climb just about anything, and with the wide diameter tires, you know, it's very stable. You can climb up and down curves, just about stairs with this sucker. And I've got an equipped gyro, so stability when I decide to go beyond just normal crawling speeds, which are very slow, to actually, and the gyro helps keep it stable if it were to drift, slide, or whatever, which is highly unlikely with a crawler. But I took advantage of a spare receiver for the specific radio to utilize it and get additional range and things like that, even with a lot of interference from, of course, living in an inner city area. A lot of FPV bubbles here and there. I mean, Wi-Fi bubbles. Even though I didn't have Wi-Fi, it's easy to have it be interference for an FPV transmitter. Causes a lot of static from what I found from some of my experimentation and testing. So, yeah, a few more bugs to get out. Secondarily, ground station, the FPV transmitter, I was getting everywhere between 15 yards with a lot of obstructions and up to 30 yards with clear field area, nothing in the way. So that was my progress on that experiment. And that went from having the very snowy background and glitches to seamless, very clear, transparent day or night. And once I got enough of that footage down and could tell what was going on, you know, that solved those issues. Upgraded the battery, made sure it was a good, fresh, full charge before going out. Some people say, you know, when you're within the hobby and you're doing things, it's best to balance your batteries. And some say, well, you can put a rapid charge on them a lot quicker. I find happy medium between the two is literally whatever milliamp hours you're working with. So like this one here says 5C is the discharge rate, but 4000 milliamp. I literally wanted to make sure that I had enough to last me close to 4 times what the little miniature lightweight batteries were I was using. So with this, I was able to basically take it and extend the run time. I can get maybe 2-3 solid runs of 30 to 45 minutes at a time out of one of these packs.
and then slowly balance it every time I charge it back up from 2.8, which is dangerously low discharge for a LiPo. I usually take them no lower than like a 3.2, 3.3 kind of thing and work them back up. But it did pretty good. These suckers say they're 7.4 volts, 2 cell, 1 pole, 29.6 watt hours, 4,000 milliamps. That means you're basically multiplying the time that you're able to utilize that battery and the time that it'll take you to fully discharge it to a point to where it's safely discharged. You can store it or you can recharge it, run it again. Well, this one's a spare. The one that's already on the unit that's stuck to it, that one was one of the primaries. I had a total of 4 of those batteries specifically for this reason once I did the math and calculated how I wanted to have the performance out of them. And basically 2 are spares, but now only 1 is a spare, and 3 are installed on FPV systems on different vehicles. The same one that was on the Felony is now on the Raptor, and one that is on the Max, which I've converted. You'll see it soon. It's off-road desert buggy style now, no longer the pickup truck that it was basically. And in the theme of buggies, there's the Losi Green Machine, which of course with the off-road trenchers is literally an off-road, on-road climbing style buggy with that flat pan chassis. Losi's good for some durability, but literally I came across that one from it was secondhand, you could basically say, a hobby parts store that literally buy, sell, or trade, and they had some parts in there, and they were like, well, none of these are running, but for small monetary deposit, it's yours. I said, oh, really? And I just kind of looked and said, you know what? That's a nitro chassis that literally ran. They didn't know it. I guess they couldn't get it started. I ran it on nitro for like a season, and then instead of adjusting and tuning and all that, I started getting the idea of making it more efficient, a lot faster, not have to go through the pull start or anything else, to get it going with it. Arthritis, I'm lazy. So yeah, I converted it to electric and then changed out the body style from the buggy to the actual, that's New Bright Jeep body. And I literally put it on it because that's a 1/8 scale buggy, and that body is like right around a 10th scale or so, but it had light buckets. So it also has the turn signals, reverse lights, roof rack lights, and brights. And it at one point in time had a sound system where you could hear it braking, backing up, or accelerating slowly. So, I put the sound system in different vehicles for whatever performance Nick for the day. I need to get a really decent one for the Felony so that, not only will I be drifting and driving drag style, but to literally hear it rev a bit other than just the sounds of the tires screeching, because they definitely do. It'd be kind of cool. I've already made the windshield in it transparent so that, when I mount the FPV camera internal inside of it, you're literally looking from inside the cockpit as I'll be dipping for future videos there. And my primary ground station, the one that has sometimes the staticky videos, other times very clear, and it has the one to the right of the screen, that's the primary ground station. That one is still up and running, fine-tuned to whatever camera system I'm using specific. That's the only contraption I'm using that doesn't have an auto search function. But the goggles and my mini ground station monitor, I literally have an auto search for those. So once I have a transmitter up and running, it's literally press and hold, wait a couple seconds, clear, vibrant, in color picture. And I've been setting up literally my phones as DVRs to record that footage. That way I can get better coordination of apps or efficiency instead of mounting an action cam and then download the video. And they basically have their place, but for what I was doing then, of course, I was just getting that live feed transmission. That's one of my preferred because I like to drive as if I'm sitting inside of the RC car, whether I'm jumping a ramp or running over rocks or drifting or, whatever, off-road. But I also find that some of the classical things of being one who has learned a little about photography, and composition and all that good stuff and framing the whole nine, it'll be good to have not just a zoom angle of perception, but say like other fixed tripod angles at different heights so that road footage of me driving around paired with some decent music, I'm not going to give away all my formula, but like I say, I'm still brainstorming. This is way random, and any input is always welcome. It's just a matter of me being creative, having something to do, a personal mission outside of general survival during this lockdown situation of which you must throw Wakanda salutes and, give me 10 feet, nothing personal, but 10 feet, you just might, hey, anyway. But yeah, I'm kicking back and relaxing. It was raining earlier and it was a bit random. I said, hey, it's been a long while since I've been on a live or participated in the stream, the whole nine. So I said, let me jump out there and throw my face in the place and show that Wolfman Jack, what happens to me in isolation. And, I literally wasn't worried about a thing except cranking out project after project. Well, next one, since y'all seen what I did with the little Raptor, I'm going to change it up a bit, change up even the speeds. I've got another vehicle. Now this one specifically for mashing, getting around, a little bit of drifting, a little bit off-road, but mainly for more of a speed and performance suspension setup on it to be on-road driven, I guess doing demonstrations. Of course, you've seen this one. I don't leave these suckers plugged up, I'll turn them off when I'm done with them, but unplug them because usually crawlers, batteries last a long time and you don't have to recharge them, but every could be 2, 3, 4 runs. Anyway, I unplugged that one and set that out of the way. And I grab this one here, which is styled after a nice aggressive off-road desert buggy. Get top view of her. Side view again. Rotator. Oh, this one's set up with a brushless system. It runs a 3S LiPo. I've upgraded the steering servo in it as well. Well, not this one yet, but coming soon. And that's if necessary, let it break first. The hood, I've basically made it to where I literally remove one pin, and like a lot of the other mainstream buggies, I can get full access to whatever. Now this was an Exceed RC brushless. It was like one of their upper top of the line brushless 10 scale buggies. So I said, well, with that, it ought to be a decent enough chassis for drifting. It'll house 12 millimeter hex hubs on your wheels, which give me many options from wrecked, broken down, spare parts vehicles, to have something to run out and bash, in the middle of a snowstorm or whatever else, get out there and just have a little fun. These panels on here are actually like some type of metal. That's pretty cool, so get to flipping over and rolling. Worst you got to worry about is some road rash, not going to just be falling apart on you. And the weight is nearly 5 pounds, even though it's a small 10 scale. The battery is a 2200 milliamp 3S, 11.1 volt LiPo battery. And with this one here, I also did the little fun thing of making sure I had not just LEDs, but turn signals on this buggy. So I'll angle that down a bit so you're not blinded. And it basically shows the lights that I've set up here, the dual in the front here, all headlights. And then with this one, I've got turn signals as well, front and rear. So whichever way I'm steering, you know, just give you that scale simulation of a larger scale vehicle. Those are very bright, so I apologize for blinding y'all. Got your little miniature drivers in there. And what I've done is I've set it up inside of here to where if I get to the switch just right, well, depends on which side I put it on, huh? I can literally select which is basically on, purple and yellow, or the off where it's purple and black. And with the other lights, you know, it's just a decent kind of indicator to let me know which way I'm headed. In the rear, take off forward, hit reverse for brakes, and I've got brake lights along with turn signals. So I figured that worked out pretty cool. And then you press again, and you go in reverse, no lights on that one. But forward wise, fine. And when you go reverse, you actually have extra bright searchlights and etc. So when the tail lights come on, you've got the roof rack lights and the main headlights should brighten up. So, and that took just a little bit of wiring, you know, setting it up. Of course, we all got some extra time on the hands, so, you know, it wasn't like I could knock it. This sucker here does about 36 miles an hour, top end speed. Haven't gotten any faster than that due to weather, and you know, it might even be the top end of the vehicle. Who knows until I can test it. But Felony, fastest I've gone so far on it was 57, which isn't bad, just about 60 stock carrying. And eventually I may put the high-speed gear on it, but just a general warning that, yeah, you'll get more top-end speed, but also take the same risk you do with any electric vehicle that's run on a brushless motor, temperatures. So yeah, you'll need certain tools in this hobby like a balance charger. You'll need at least a spare pack for whatever pack you're running per vehicle. And you'll also need things like battery testers so you can tell exactly what voltage your battery is at, how low or how charged it is. You'll need things like a shed with plenty of space, because if you drive them well and you don't break them down and you happen to get one like every 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that, oh yeah, you'll fill up a shed real quick. And let's see, me, I didn't do the shed thing. You know, I didn't want to have to go outside and unlock and lug back or be isolated there. So I just set a room aside for them. And, you know, the ones that are running are in that room. The projects, just like my planes, frames for drones and other things like that, they're in the Mad Scientist lab where I keep Uncle Relic locked up. You know, I figured, you know, I might as well put him to good use since he was so good at snatching my phone and taking my vehicles. You know, so yeah, y'all report me. I won't say nothing. Y'all don't say nothing. Ain't that his favorite words? You know, yeah. We're going to let him hang out in the Mad Scientist lab. And we're going to chill and hear the music in the rain. Don't know if it stopped yet, but you know. Anyway, that vehicle specifically, if I had more subscribers. So y'all make sure y'all share the stream and, you know, go ahead and like it. You know, the algorithm likes that kind of thing. And I'm only begging, so don't look down upon me now. I'm just doing my thing and chilling. And as I sip on this water here, because we all gotta hydrate. Just because it's cold don't mean you're not thirsty. Now I found that with different vehicles and the amp draw that they'll take, say for instance, 200 amp escalator, which is your motor speed controller on a hobby grade vehicle. That's good for something that's like a fifth scale down to an eighth scale generally, as far as components matching up between your motor mounts, your gearing options, and the 120 or 150 amp kind of area is good for a very powerful monster truck that's a 1/10, kind of slightly large or stretched out wheelbase, up to a 1/8, 1/7, 6, all those right in there. Well, what I find that's most enjoyable about it is, as long as you understand the general basics and you can work with screwdrivers, Allen wrenches, things like that, and you're a little creative, you'll find that it's something that interesting you could get off into and literally be kicking back. You might have your margarita or two off to the side, your nice little teas, however you want to label them, and you can just kick back, relax, and be crawling. You can set them to a really slow speed. Make sure you set up like a rock garden or something like that, and you can sit back there and crawl for hours, have nice conversation, watch the stars all night. There's many things you can do when you're basically forcing yourself to be more outdoorsy in the environment, dealing with whatever elements of weather, which is why I forced myself, trust me, I forced myself to get any footage in the snow. I don't like the cold at all. And yeah, took me a couple of takes on one, and another one, the issue I kept running into was the transmitter was literally working, but underpowered, which I changed it up with that battery solution for future vids and etc. Y'all stay tuned because, of course, I don't want to be trying to say I know it all or whatever. I'm pretty much a beginner at this stuff. I've just been at it a little while. I understand polarity, a little bit of resistance or capacitance, so I figure might as well apply it to something functional. And if it's interesting enough, to keep my mind, how should I say, entertained in this downtime, hey, it works well for me. I do quite a bit of collaboration as far as thoughts and bouncing ideas off the chest, long distance with friends and fam. And, YouTube is a nice little venue to get on and, vent it out, when you want to like reach up and snatch, a little something out from the roots or whatever, because you're frustrated at the progress of that plateau. And then you realize, oh, I'm only frustrated because I'm fretting it, worrying about it, stressing it. If you relax into it, you'll find anything that you were drawn to, that you may have any type of talent at or niche at, the more relaxed you are and refined, then you're promoting that balance. That's going to allow you to express. And the culmination or combination of those is what I would call true inspiration. And to figure things like that out, just from breathing exercises or listening to the sound of a brushless motor fan going to keep an escalator cool. And it almost sounds like a radiator or some type of intake on an actual car. You can actually scale down the effects of what's really going on as far as traction, handling, your turn ratio or angle, There's a lot of things you can do with a model that I literally have an idea as well that I will say here because I want to hold myself accountable for it, is to insulate the crawler body that I made. That is it's a combination of a quad cab pickup and a U-Haul truck. And I just basically left it no livery on the sides, and it's literally ready to go. Inside floor panel, removable in there, separate compartment I built in for the battery holder, etc. I was going to take my time and literally build a fan powered refrigerant system for it and leave it sealed. Therefore, it could, actually cool beverages and deliver them. And then when it actually gets hot, I'll test that out and see how well it works. Because if it works like I think it will, I got neighbors around here that I'm quite sure would love a Coke and a smile, on a hot, sunny summer day. And it'll be nothing like pulling one out of the fridge or so, setting it in the back of an RC truck, driving it outside, down some stairs, down the street, and literally get to the point to where you're looking at 200 to 400 yards of clear operation, transmission, etc. Then I'll figure out a communication device, if not a Bluetooth, and be within range of that. That'll say instructions. Yeah, you can lower the ramp, open the rear door, grab a Coke, take only one, and then, close everything when you're done, roll off, and then have a little sign I can put on the side of it, with a switch from my radio that says, thank you, have a great day, or something like that. And then I'll basically be designing the livery that I want for it, because I literally built it as a joke, because I had the idea of combining a pickup truck with a U-Haul that wasn't all white or their paint color scheme, and worked out pretty well. So my next step to it is to see if I can actually get it to have any level of refrigeration. And usually within that department, it takes a matter of something to have the cooling, something to transfer that. And you can go as basic as a large boxed off shaded area with a fan and some ice within some type of filter would do wonders. Now, to insulate it enough to where I don't have to worry about anything leaking, spilling, all that kind of stuff, it'll be pretty simple because the way that I built it up. So all I'm doing now is brainstorming, rambling. Y'all forgive me for all of that. I figured I'll take my time. I'm either gonna rock me some twists or something here pretty soon. Rona's been good to me. She took her time and she said, you know what? You were bald 4 months ago, and I could be bald anytime I'm ready. But just in case people are wondering if it grew, yeah, it grows real nice and raggedy, real raggedy. It just jumps out, and Wolfman Jack, and you really can't deny that. So when I get the stripes growing back in, real good and thick, by then I should have all my projects done. The last miniature ground station finished, building an indoor crawler course, which I'm going to incorporate a miniature parking garage of at least 3 levels next to a tunnel. And I've got to also add a custom bridge. I've seen a few online, and that's forced me to take my time with it, because I'm looking at it like, yeah, they're doing it simple ways, but I've seen ways done in plaster and then paints and things like that. And I'm not against putting some paint or whatever on it, but my thing is I want to recycle a lot of things to even build the course to begin with. Foam, yeah, got different types of foam. Most of that packaging stuff, roll it up, box it up, bag it up somewhere off in the cut until you need it again. Well, I'm sure some of it can part ways with its normal use, and I'll basically make some nice traction, climbing areas, ramps, parking garage, tunnel, and bridge, and then incorporate those within my living room area so that I can literally get some micro FPV footage of 24th scale vehicles driving around that terrain. That's the goal. That's what I'm working towards, and so far, I've got close to 50% of it complete. And if I had the mobility of being live on my phone as opposed to just stationary on my Wi-Fi, which I'm glad I have. I'm not complaining. Glad that I have. then I could actually show. But you know, that's rooms away, and you know, I got to bring things in here and show them to you now. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I just thought I'd step up and say hello because it's been a minute, and I'm usually moderating other channels or coming in, you know, dropping my little 2 cents until people say like, "Hey, get up out of here, Dusty." So you know, I figured, hey, Venom G54, a couple more vehicles on the way. Vehicles wise, I'm working on an RV, so that's the last, not quite a kit, but customized vehicle I'm throwing together from some brushed electronics and motor on axle setups. And instead of going 6x6, it'll be a 4x4. I'm gonna see if I'll run it 2 or 3S and see how well I can customize it on lighting and things like that for that project, because it's literally, let's say, about, well, it doesn't fit on camera, but yeah, from that hand on to like here in length. So the vehicle's anywhere close to about 30 to 33 inches, something like that, in length from bumper to bumper. And I figured to put a long wheelbase on it as a crawler with articulate suspension would give me a nice, large, stable enough platform to mount some action cameras to at different angles, and literally tint windows, add LED lighting for special effects, general lighting, you know, might even be brights, headlights, tail lights, or turn signals. Haven't made up my mind on it yet. That one's still, like I say, drawing board up here. And yeah, taking my time, throwing some things together so that I'll not only have the opportunity to get footage once, but depending on the style of vehicle I'm driving around it, possibly even more. I'm looking at the traditional train style setups, how you would have little homes or mountain range and things like that, to have some of that type of effect within my 24 scale crawler course, but to start it off with large, broad, general geometric type shapes, and then adding foam using things like either CA, hot glue, things like that. Very inexpensive, but nice and effective and durable construction is what I'm looking at. Because weight wise, you don't have to worry about much. It's the foundation. So I'm gonna have some fun with that and get nice and busy, and hopefully y'all appreciate it. Again, be sure to like, share, subscribe, you know. Check out the other Ray J. You know, he's in here tonight. You know, I'm glad to see him come through on the live. I know this is random because, you know, you never see me live. I'm not quite there yet. I'm building, y'all. I'm building. And anyway, taking my time, nibbling on some pizza that I picked up on my lazy Friday. It was time to brainstorm. You know, brainstorming on an empty stomach is good when you got an emergency. But if you have time to calculate and plan it out, you know, get your kibbles and bits on. So that's what I did. You know, I grabbed me a pizza and I'm gonna munch on that for a while, and possibly even Netflix and chill on the solo dolo monk style like I do. There ain't nothing wrong with it. Y'all kind of see why it's monk style, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, not too many people want to get caught up in public with, you know, that jumping off their head. Me, I ain't worried about it. It's shade in the summer and heat in the winter. You know, I'm not too worried. It grows. It ain't patches. I'm good. Anyway, I'm glad y'all came through to check up on me tonight. You know, got to test out this equipment. This camera here ain't the best, but, you know, it's better than none. And I've got another camera to test, and I've got a video coming up post this live, which means like my next one coming up is going to be this buggy getting its rip on, weather permitting. It won't mind the wet conditions much, but, you know, I don't want to ruin the foams or have to drill holes in the tires, the Venom. So I'm pretty much going to run it in dry conditions, loose gravel, sand, a little bit of off-road, as long as it's not too tall of grass. Again, most electric vehicles like so, you can run them hard, on their intended surface. And even with that, running constant full trigger, you're going to literally have heating issues if everything's not perfectly synced from the weight, the balance, the distribution, the battery choice, your electronics like your motor speed controller and battery, the motor itself, the size, its gearing. So many things come into play that you literally test it out a couple of times, find you a decent setup you like, and then you can experiment and upgrade from there. Well, with this one, escalator fan's literally been all I've needed. It's got a lot of ventilation as far as getting around to the motor, so don't have much of a problem there or a need for a fan yet, as I've run it pretty hard and tested it afterwards. No issues. It was good to go. The 2200 battery is just lightweight enough, just the right size to give me a little bit more than a half hour's worth of runtime with some moderate to extreme kind of bashing going on as far as drift and on road. I stiffened up the suspension as much as possible and added some preloads on it. It's a little bit of flex from the body the way I mounted it. Of course, before it'll swivel back from removing this here, and it hinges straight up and back. The front is stiffened up. Basically gives you a lot better handling on the road to pull 180s, 360s, and drift a bit. Had a bit of fun with it. Just wish, I had somebody like, those Predator style cameras mounted, everywhere I went. They just kind of synced up and looked with me, and they could do the recording for me. Make it oh so much easier. But yeah, I didn't have that. So, I've got another mount that I built, set up, some foam repurposing, set it in there, decent foam mount for my phone. Throw that sucker in here to clamp in place and hold it. Horizontal footage, as long as I remember to keep this aligned just about chest high or right below chest high, but with the bottom slightly tilted up. That gives me, for the focal point and the view, enough range to where I can literally watch my Habao, which is the other speed vehicle that I drifted on the snow. I can watch it run halfway down the block before having to adjust it, and getting that fine tuning to capture the footage well. Little hacks like this are necessary. Other than that, this is the basic style remote that came with the Exceed RC. It's not bad. It's a 2.4 gigahertz remote. Range is around about 150, 200 meters. Kind of iffy in there, but pretty decent. You got a lot of trims in here for your throttle, your steering, the dual rates, and reverse for channel 1 and channel 2. So it's decent little radio, decent little vehicle. And you got some decent steering speed. And it is so quick that, barely touching the trigger twice, and it's rolled into the hallway getting ready to go into the front room. So, you have to be careful. Let people know, yeah, it looks like a toy. It performs kind of like one. It's entertaining like one, but you wreck it and you're going to realize it's not a toy. It's kind of an expensive investment that you're going to have to put some time, some energy, effort, or a little bit of money into, getting from the parts. They're not that expensive. So, it's just a matter of, first couple times you break them or run into something hard enough, and say your hub carriers and things like that may go down. That was the immediate part that I decided to upgrade. So I threw them to aluminum instead of the plastic that they came with stock. The battery, of course, is an upgrade and added. This spare tire came on this body of something. So this was a crawler, but I figured it would look better on a desert buggy. And even though it adds a little bit of top weight, the fact that I stiffened the suspension, it was a low center of gravity buggy to begin with, it just pretty much dialed in. That's a performance for me. Gave it the right amount of weight not to get too squirrely at higher speeds. So it's a really, really stable vehicle. like I say, around about a good 5 pounds. And yeah, I've been kicking it with it a bit. When I'm not running the max or the green machine, this here is a nice little quick one. I could literally throw in the ride and just drive off somewhere and listen to some music. And next thing you know, pop one of these out, get it ripping around. Dogs, they like to play with them. Kids see them and they love them, and they usually, first thing out their mouth to be, hey, can I drive it? Now, a 1/10 or something like that, that's not too dangerous or heavy or too fast and would be out of control for somebody under 14 or something like that. Yeah, I'll let them drive it around a bit. Have at it, run that battery down. There's a spare somewhere nearby. But like say the Max, not quite, because I've seen that one and even the 1/10 Rustler 4x4 brushless literally back up in a matter of 0.5 seconds and back up, hit a vehicle, actual car, back up the tire of that car somehow and launch itself in the air like 5 6 feet and then come bumbling back down, and roll back to its wheels on the ground and still drivable. And people are like, what the? And I'm like, yeah, what the? I look over and I'm seeing that, oh, yeah, while I was looking down to pick it up, the trigger on the remote and my finger there, you know what I'm saying? It kind of went in reverse, not forward. See, forward, it would have ran into me. But reverse, it backed up, hit the nearest car, and everybody's looking around like, dang, that sucker's fast. I'm like, yeah, good thing I didn't do that and have it running out in the middle of the street and getting ran over. Now, I can dust it off, clean it up, no problem. But if I've got to replace it, hey, those things cost. I was not rich yet. I was working on it, I'm figuring out ways. And, I'll find them broken. I'll find those with in need of parts, or somebody will offer up a trade or something like that. And I'll be like, well, you know what? I've got one that's running good and it's up to par. And, I've had my time with it. It's cool. I've already documented it, did some footage. And they'll have one that'll be either drift or instead of a crawler, it may be like a buggy, or it might be a scale truck, literally just for like running your trails, meaning it's not the slow, but got enough speed to keep up with you kind of walking like. So yeah, trail truck. And I'll say, yeah, looks decent. And usually it's like something broken on it, or they're deciding they want to get out of the hobby. And I'm like, well, cool. I've got a battery that'll fit it. I'll scan over the electronics real quick, estimate the diameter of the motor, the shaft, to see if I've got some spare gears that'll fit. And within about 2-3 minutes, I can tell whether or not I'm going to snatch it on up for the load, fix it up, get it running right, pristine, so that literally all somebody's got to do is either put their own body they want on it, paint it, whatever, or take the custom one that I would sell it with, go on that route. Well, it's something to keep busy with. Outside of that, I do a little bit of reading, of course, in my internal arts. I'm still just got through meditating, as a matter of fact. Had to do me a nice 30-minute session listening to some sub-bass, sub-level deep harmonic music, specifically for meditative healing and etc. And promoting my energies going in that direction so that, I could definitely stave off some of this inflammation from the weather and rain. Outside of that, it's called the space heater. It's called a heating blanket. It's called a fat meal, and then sit back and rub Buddha's belly and pass out and probably drool. So instead of going there, I just figure, hey, I'm going to eat good. I'm going to snack good. I got to get like the critters and go pick me up some chocolate bars and snack on them. But otherwise, it's been a gravy winter. I was kind of doubting it, when that artificial blizzard rolled through, but luckily was blessed enough, didn't lose any power. Pipes froze once, but not solid and permanently or damaged or anything like that. But yeah, it got pretty low. You know, we was looking at 7 to 17 degrees off and on for quite a few, and then when that hit, oh yeah, it was not nice. I didn't like it. It gave me flashbacks of back home, and I said, "Oh no, that's why I left. I really got tired of the snow, you know. So I don't like it, not one bit. You know, it looked good. It looked good falling down, but when you need to get moving, that's a whole nother story. You know, unless you got you a nice off-road package, 4x4, and you know what I'm saying, 3, 4 shovels already set out in the mix, and some salt kitty litter or something. Yeah, I had some of the knowledge of them things, and some things that uses gravel for traction, and luckily enough to be in a high enough off the ground vehicle to get around a bit. But shovel, I was slipping. I was slipping. So what I wound up doing was I grabbed a two-wheeler, ran out with that, flipped it over. And you know that lip edge that you usually load things on the haul and then you back it back on the wheels to wheel it around? I just flipped it around to the lip edge and drug that as a plow to literally clear the snow. And regardless to clearing at least 90% of the snow out of the way of myself and a couple of neighbors, everybody kept getting stuck. I mean, it was just a matter of you literally have a sheet of ice, and then you have a snowstorm that not quite melted, but compacted. And then we had that Arctic blizzard roll through on top of that. So yeah, it was nearly a foot, almost 1.5 feet of snow at different points during that storm. And I was looking like, what? I haven't seen this in a while. I don't like it. I literally tried to avoid it. What's really going on? But anyway, then the rain came. So past a day and a half, yeah, it's been drizzle, storming, thunderstorm. And I don't like the rain either. So I'm like, you know what? It needs to be like 85 to 95 degrees year round in my preferable climate. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm gonna need to go retire and enjoy my retirement. With backstroking the sea if necessary. I don't care. But I need some heat, y'all. It is so comfortable and relaxing, like a free massage. You know what I'm saying? That's what I prefer about it. And you know, you can have all the skills you want to, but when you constantly gotta apply to yourself pressure points and all that kind of thing, it's always better to have a nice somebody at your level, or of course elder in that area, you know, to be able to administer that therapy. That way you can relax and receive and let it be a balanced occasion. Because I don't mind giving massages for therapy and helping folks, even if it's on a low level Reiki or Qigong type tapping kind of thing. The difference is, why are you going to keep giving out massages and nobody wants to give you one? Like, oh man. So you're leaning up against doorways. And then from doorways, you know, you kind of like doing that chop thing. That's me. Anyway, I'm just here rambling. I wanted to let y'all know that, yeah, I'm still up and kicking, still creative, still brainstorming, still holding myself accountable on those ideas. And I'm still hungry. So until next time, I'm going to have to catch y'all then. Be on the lookout to see that custom off-road desert buggy. I'm going to have that running. And I'm going to throw in another little surprise with that video. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Help me get to 500,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever. You know, just let folks know it's something out here to watch. Listen to somebody ramble outside of just the general mainstream programming. Anyway, this is Venom G54, and I'm out of here. Peace.